I don't actually know the order, but fuck it. Let's just start with Daisy Ridley. And then we have Tom Bateman and Shazad Latif. Oh. That one goes on the end.
Hey, y'all.
Hello, everyone.
Give me 1 second to set up my phone so I can actually also record. As you can tell, I'm a professional. I would have had this done, but I was socializing. You like the way I'm doing
You're
this?
texting someone? Who are you texting?
I'm putting in my all
Those
the
aren't
audio.
your questions. That's hard.
Also, the other thing is I have, let me put it on airplane mode. I have what we call a time limit. You know what I mean? Like there's an ideal situation for this Q&A. So it's good to know the time. And I'll tell you something fun, which is also really stupid. I was on stage with Josh Brolin at New York Comic Con moderating the panel, and they told me that there would be a timer right here. So I'm like, okay, great. So when I'm on stage, I'll know. There was no timer. So I literally had to ask the audience twice, how much time do I have left? Because I didn't know when it was going to end. And enough about that. How are you guys doing?
Good.
I really want to say huge congratulations on the film. You guys did such a great job. Before we get into this, I just want to point out that, Daisy, you might have a few fans here, but two people who are there flew in from Oregon.
Wow. Hey, guys. Wow.
I always have people that fly in for the screenings, but Oregon is a far one. I'm going to give some credit there. You know, I like how everyone has a phone. Have you known? The hashtag for this movie, by the way, is Magpie, or is it Magpie Movie?
Magpie, I guess.
I'm making sure so when you guys
Magpie.
are posting about it, it's Magpie. So let me do the curveballs at the beginning, and then we're going to get into the actual movie. What do you think would surprise people to learn about being an actor in this industry, if anything?
A lot of bad food. There's a lot of bad stuff to eat on set, isn't there?
I know
it's never what you think.
That's just the UK. In America, they feed
UK's
you.
bad, yeah. UK. I'm talking UK specifically.
Yeah.
I don't know. You go.
Something that would surprise you about being an actor. It's stupid fun. Like it's really fun. Like you do. Like I think people would be aware of how fun it is, but honestly, it's so fun. And I don't think I can get that across enough. Like you sort of sit there and get to hang out with really fun, cool people all day in amazing costumes and do stupid things. Yeah, it's fun.
I mean, usually this being the outlier, it just takes so long. Often when you get a job to then actually begin the job can be literal years. So that's something.
You guys have all worked on other projects, and I'm just curious, which shot or sequence through your career do you think was the hardest to do, whether because of camera moves, dialogue, and the camera moves, whatever it may be?
I had to do it underwater, smashing a piece of glass underwater, but holding your breath for like a minute and a half. We got trained by some weird guy called Nam, who's like teaches surfers how to hold your breath for like 7 minutes. So learning that and then doing that but then watching the dudes who were there to help you eating sandwiches on the water, and like that was the hardest thing I've ever to do. But it was also great.
Was that a Nautilus?
Yeah.
Mine's a water one as well. I did a movie with Ron Howard about the rescue of the boys stuck in the cave in Thailand, which was an amazing film to be a part of. But Vigo decided that we would do all our own stunts. And what we had to do in the movie was literally, I mean, the point of the film was that no one in the world could do what these guys did, which was cave diving, which is just awful. You're going through holes like this big underwater. We got stuck in there for like 17, 18 minutes at a time, not moving in like a coffin of water. That was the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
And you can't say no, because I know Vigo, he told me that was a big thing with him. He wanted to make it as real as possible. You can't say no when Vigo is like, we're all going to do this.
No. And he said it, like, we were all sort of sitting around, we've been training in the pool, and he said, I think we should do this to Ron. And we were all in the pool, and we were going, we haven't talked about this, Vigo. And then he just turned to us and went, right, guys? And in front of Ron Howard and Vigo, you're not going to say, I don't feel like doing that, actually, Aragorn.
I'm going to talk about a recent one involving our mutual friend Martin Campbell. I did a film with him last year, an action movie. And there is a sequence in the movie where I drop from the ceiling with a plastic bag. So as I land, I have to put the plastic bag over a man's head. And then there's a barrel next to us. And I have to swing him into the barrel, and then I have to swing him out of shot. And because the camera was in a particular place, I had to swing him hard enough out of shot so that we cleared the frame. But I was being held by two guys. So it's not a perfect science. And the mat was like this big. And my head was probably just, I was high. Lower than this ceiling, but high. So each time someone had to stop my legs. Sorry, this is a very specific one. Someone had to stop my legs because I was swinging, because I was on a harness. So they had to stop my legs, run away. And then I was like, here we go, knowing that I was about to be dropped. So I had to have my knees soft enough to land. And then I knew that when I landed, I had to get the plastic bag over the head. And I would literally miss the plastic bag and be like, fuck. And genuinely, because the adrenaline was so high, and then I wrenched my shoulder and I smashed into the thing. My adrenaline was so high by the end of it, I was like, let's go again. But it probably took, 15 takes to do that one shot.
Yeah, things I can't do ever, Tom, this is an individual question for you. I normally don't ask personal questions, but I read that you have 12 siblings.
That is incorrect.
So that's just like a joke online.
I have 13 siblings.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I got
they
that.
They are half brothers and sisters as well, but we are all blood related. I won't go into that web, but
I had a specific question, actually. So you have a twin brother named Merlin, if I'm correct.
That is correct.
And my thing is, like, his name is Merlin and your name is Tom. So when you were a kid, were you like to your parents, how come he's Merlin? Because that's a fucking cool name.
No, well, that's a question I ask as an adult, because as a kid, you want to be Tom because Merlin just gets the wizard jokes. And as a kid, he was kind of, no one's going to pick on us because we were twins. There's two of us. But, he was like, okay, yeah, the Merlin thing. And then as soon as you get to sort of 17, 18 years old, it's incredibly cool. And then I'm just Tom.
It's just weird because, you know what I mean? It's such a different name.
I do, yeah. And my parents haven't given me an answer. I ask them and it's just like an awkward shrug and they look away and pretend I haven't said anything.
I mean, it could be that they had just watched Excalibur the day before and like, I'm just obviously making shit up. So we're almost at the movie, but what's the most, for all three of you, what's the most nervous you've been the day before the first day of filming something? Where you were like in your head all night, just couldn't sleep. You are, you know what I mean? Like because it's a big thing the next day.
I'm going to plow in and say The Force Awakens. Yeah.
Were you in that?
Yeah. You guys might have heard of it. No, but it wasn't just the day before. It was the month before and the month before that and then the day of. And I remember being really specifically, it was so hot and I was behind the speeder and there was a sort of wider shot. So I was behind the speeder and I had to come around. And I had never really properly been on set before outside of like 2 weeks on something. So it was all very new and someone had an umbrella over me and that was new. I didn't, like being in the desert and you're like, oh yeah, of course we have to protect ourselves from the sun. And I remember going, oh my God, I can't do it. I can't do it. As they were rolling, as she was called Steph, as she was running away with the umbrella, I thought, oh, how the fuck do I do this? So I still remember that feeling.
I think mine was I did the second best exotic Marigold Hotel and it had Judi Dench, Richard Gere, Bill Nighy, Celia Emery, countless other huge actors, and yeah, I was like doing a wedding scene in front of all of them like the first day, and I was just shitting myself. So yeah, that was a scary day.
And mine was I just finished a movie this year that Kenneth Branagh's written and directed, where I'm acting opposite Jodie Comer, and we got told the night before there was this 5-page dialogue scene. That was immense. Like I can't remember the movie at all, but like the emotional shifts and gear changes in the scene were exhausting just to read. And Ken told us the night before, he said, just a little heads up, we're talking about doing this in a wanna. Like we want to just do this steady cam through the house, you and Jodie just going like, see you tomorrow. And that was really terrifying because I knew that there were also the writing so good that there were so many interpretations of the scene that I wanted to try out, but obviously you're just doing it in one, so you can't really sort of Do you know what I mean? You just got to go for it. And we did it for hours and it was really cool. But I remember the night before I didn't sleep too much because I was just in my head over and over it, just like imagining how it would go, wanting it to go a certain way. Jodie was the same. We turned up in the morning. We were both like, so tired and we have to do this thing.
It's funny because one of the things I was going to talk to you guys about, and we could still talk about it, is how do you learn lines? Because for me, even 2 lines, I'm like, I can't remember. So how do you do it when it's like a huge thing like that? Like, in all seriousness, how do you 3 learn lines, especially when you're presented the night before with completely new pages and you need to get it all down and you've been on set all day and you're tired and you know what I mean?
I don't know if there's any specific technique. I just read it over and over again until you get it. But I mean, the time I got it like 4 hours before, and I think I was doing Star Trek, and there was no way of learning it, so I just got them to write it up. So I remember them just putting it up and just reading it. So that sometimes you need to read it off the board.
Marlon Brando did that, so you know he was successful.
I'm going to shout out my dialect coach, Rick Lipton. Certainly for American things, which is very different in terms of getting prepared. We will have a session on a Sunday. So we'll do all of the accent prep for the film. And then on a Sunday, we'll go through the week's scenes. So it's a really great way of just going through it out loud. And then when it came back to doing an English accent for this, I was like, how do I do this in English? But because I'd been very part of this process, I sort of knew as much of it as I could. And then scene partner, line learning partner.
Yeah. And I think do your homework, man. Like, of course, if you're given like scenes the day before, you just got it. The short-term memory is an amazing thing too. So the night before, it's quite remarkable and surprising. You go, oh my God, I can't believe I know it. It's in my head. Short-term memory is incredible. But I would like that scene with Jodie that I was just telling you about. I knew that was coming. And when I was reading the script, I went, whoa. So I knew that was just going to be 5 pages of us just going at each other. So I thought just every day, little and often, just do it, just learn it, just learn it, just learn it. And it does go in. And
also I will say, if it's well written, it's easier to learn.
Oh, good point.
And it tends to be a really good litmus test, because if something's not going in, not always, but it can be that it's just not quite sitting character-wise.
Jumping into why you guys are here tonight. So Daisy, this is a story, you came up with this. So talk a little bit about where did this come from, the idea?
So the very original idea, I was on set for The Marsh King's Daughter, and I had a little girl in it who was called Joey, and she was just amazing. She was 6 and she was super smart. So she knew that I wasn't her mum, but her dad was with her on set because her mum was at home. She'd had a new baby. And I remember thinking, this is so wild, because she was smart enough to know I wasn't her mum, but she's calling me mum in the scene. And she's 6. She's just a little girl. So I just loved my relationship with her. So initially the idea actually was an actress infiltrating a family. So that was on the plane back, I thought, oh, that'd be interesting. Because I was away from home. It was in COVID times, so it was super lonely, and Toronto was super shut down, so I was either on set or alone. And I remember thinking, if one didn't have, a solid bedrock or something to come home to, it's very destabilizing going away and being in different places, and these incredibly intense relationships you build very quickly on set. So what might that be if someone didn't have the stability of a family or like a rock there? So that was a very, very original thing. So I got back, Tom picked me up from the airport, and we sort of spitballed. And then he started writing, and a few weeks later, it was Tom that said, I feel much more drawn to the women at home. So that is how Magpie was birthed.
So Tom, you have never written a screenplay as far as I know until this one, or am I missing something?
No, no, I had written, and this is my first screenplay that has been produced and shot and finished.
Yeah, that's yeah.
So yes, I haven't written anything else that's out there, but Daisy is my sounding board, first person that I send anything or give anything to. She's the first person who'd read anything years ago. I think the first thing Daisy bought me my first laptop I was writing my first thing on like an iPad Notes, and Daisy read it. it, and she said she really liked it, and she was so supportive of it, and that was years ago. And so she asked me, because she'd read a bunch of my screenplays, which some of which are in development and things. But she said when I picked her up from the airport, she said, "I've got this idea, and what do you think about it?" I said, "I think it's cool, really cool idea, and I've never heard of anything like it." And then she said, "And would you write it?" The bit that she missed out there, though, is the speed at which, like, I say being married to Daisy is like being strapped to a rocket. She literally said, "What do you think about it?" I said, "Yeah, great." And she goes, I said, "Give me a second to think about it." About 3 days later, she said, "We've got a meeting with these producers," pitching it. I barely even had a synopsis there. We just had like a rough idea. We pitched it. 3 days later, they came back and said, "We want to make this with you. Let's go. We want a first draft like soon." And Daisy just started cracking the whip. So I was waking up every day at like 4 a.m. Writing from 4. I just sort of make a jug of coffee, write from like 4 till 10. Days will come down, read everything. I just pace up and down, chain smoking, terrified, nervous. But wonderfully, she just tell me like, "I like this, don't like this. Let's," and we sort of just grafted it together like that over a period. I think the first draft came in about 3 weeks. And then obviously we redrafted it. But yeah.
That's crazy. Let's just start with that. But I didn't realize you did all these other scripts. But let me just say congrats on your first produced screenplay.
Thank you.
So I'm always fascinated about how things change in the writing process. So you've already mentioned a little bit, but were there any other like big changes along the way? Or I'm just always curious about that.
Yeah, there were quite a few. I mean, one of the big changes, and I don't want to make any spoilers because obviously things are being recorded here, but I was always interested in, particularly given that for me, the motives and the theme and big DNA of this film was perspective. What is real? What is not real? Who sees things in a certain way and what is the presented world that we are seeing in the hidden world. And so I wanted to take that a step further with this sort of Nolan-esque twist at the end. I was inspired by things like Memento, where you think you've been watching this one thing and you haven't. And a lot of things came in, Gone Girl, these things were kicking around in my head. And I thought, and Daisy and I said, when we first wanted to make something together, we said, what we want is for an experience for an audience to watch in a cinema together and just have that, what? And kind of like have an exciting response to it. And talk about character things in there too. But so that was a big thing that we didn't start out doing. And I can't remember when, but I said, I'd be really interested in this. Let's take this a step further in terms of not only the characters, who people are not what they seem, but the story structure itself. I want to hide certain things from the audience or wrong foot them, red flag them, which was a bit of a curveball, I think. And from there on, it sort of just came about like that. Yeah.
Shazad, I'm just curious, what was your reaction reading the script for the first time and playing a character like this where maybe some women aren't going to like you?
Yeah, I remember when Tom, he texted me and he was like, because we're old friends, we're very old friends. And he sent it over and I read it very quickly and I was blown away. I was like, and I called him straight back and I said, he was like, "Do you want to do it?" I went, "Yeah, I'd love to make a movie with my friends." So it was an immediate thing, and it just flowed, and obviously, yeah, playing a sort of, in a way, a kind of villain. It's always fun to just step into that and try and, I don't know, it just seemed exciting. I like that kind of. For me, it was just nice to have a lot of two-handed, just me and Daisy, and then it's me on the set, and it's me and the kid, and it's quite a nice thing to think you're going to play all these things. It's quite a enjoyable thing to do. Yeah, but I kind of like, it's good to be hated sometimes in terms of the character. Yeah.
I was going to say that, there's going to be, no one's going to punch you in the face, but maybe.
Maybe. That's a good response.
You know what I mean?
I want to say too, like when we premiered this at South by Southwest, Shazzy had never seen the film. We kept saying, "Do you want to see it? Do you want to see it?" And he was like, "No, I want to see it with an audience, big audience in the cinema." And it was like people were booing. It was like 300, 400 people like booing him and like applauding when Days was like strength against him and stuff. And at the end of it, when we were all coming up, people were literally going, and Shazad Latif, people were booing him. And Shazzy was like this panto hero just going, "Yeah, he loved it."
One of the things about this film, I think, is that there's a possibility that men and women are going to view this two different ways. Have you noticed that during the screenings? And I'm just curious, did you guys feel like, maybe it's hard to do this from the stage, but like, I really think men and women are going to look at this possibly in two different lenses. Maybe.
There have been a couple differences. We did a feedback screening because the edit was really a wonderful, straightforward process. We always had a really clear vision of the film we wanted to make, and Sam came on and is amazing. Our director, and Chris, our editor, amazing. So we were always super aligned with what we wanted to make. And it got to the point where we were like, are we drinking our own Kool-Aid? Like, are we crazy? Why is this so simple? So we did a feedback screening just to get a sense of it. And it was interesting because there was one person that said, poor Ben, which was surprising. But for the most part, we found that it's an amazing conversation starter because people view things differently. And certainly as someone that has seen this 100 times, there are times where I think Annette is much more provoking, and a lot of time where I don't. Which is also strange because it's me watching myself, but I feel very strangely removed from it being me. So it's been, I think, across the board, a really amazing conversation.
I'm so curious, when you were writing this and when you guys were coming up and working on this, how much were you cognizant of like the budget you might have to make this and writing it in such a way that it's like doable with the resources you're going to have?
I mean, we couldn't blow up Waterloo Station, but I don't think there were very many concessions made. Like I remember we were talking with the costume designer and the designers of it with the film within a film and how expensive that would be. And I said, look, I wanted this division of a clear division of the film and then the film within the film, and also tonally what those period dramas can do. And that was never like, I was never met with any resistance. They sort of said, yeah, let's go and do it. And we found these locations. And but a lot of it was just being very savvy. Daisy was amazing. Daisy really did produce this whole thing, really, and Kate, and how savvy they were getting things like, oh, okay, let's get our trailers, and that's just our set for free, you know, because it's the trailers that the actors were actually in, and you just flip the cameras around. Our crew were amazing, and we said they'd be in it. That's a lot of our crew actually in it, you know, when you see that crew up there, and they kind of loved it, you know. So it was just being a big old team. And I don't really remember a moment, because we did talk about, we wanted this kind of pressure cooker, this kind of one house, this one location that she's trapped in. She's in this cage and she kind of can't get away from it. And even when she does, she's being dragged back. So then the sets around it, we didn't want them to be too adventurous or take the narrative away too much. So really the story itself, we never said, let's make a $20 million movie. Oh God, we have to scale it back. We said, this is the movie we want to make. Let's think about how we can do this and keep the most control possible. And yeah.
For all three of you, because I'm assuming you're on set every day, or were you?
I was in Los Angeles.
It's funny because the way he answered that, I was like, were you there?
I was like, well, the way you answered it, I'm like, you were there. But
yeah. As someone that was there, what I will, I think the way, honestly, we made this film is relationships. I have been lucky enough to work with incredible people in the UK and called upon some wonderful people that I know. And we did not do anyone dirty for sure. But we, everyone knew that we didn't have unlimited money and we had a very tight schedule. But I had made, Sometimes I Think About Dying on this schedule. So it's a very different movie, but I knew it could be done. So I was there going, I know we can do this. I absolutely know we can do this. And I think because I really wanted everyone to have a great experience on the film. The cast and the crew, so we were really communicative. And we said to everyone coming in, this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to do it. If you're on board, this is amazing. And we honestly got every one of our cast members was our first choice. Every one of our crew members was. It was really an amazing experience in that way. And I feel like that propulsion definitely was there. But also shout out to that crew because amazing. And even Translux, who was our facilities, I mean, people were really, really good to us. And I mean, even here, honestly, like people have been really good to us. It's been a really wonderful experience in that way of people helping each other out.
For the two of you who were there while they were filming, when you saw the shooting schedule in front of you, which day did you have circled in terms of I can't wait to film this? And was there any day where you were like, how exactly are we going to film this?
I think the final dinner table scene is always because it's all three of us or four of us for a bit, and then all three of us together in that way for the first time, and it's such a it's the big moment, and so that was a day I was like, okay, that's going to be a big one, which is always quite exciting but also scary. Yeah.
And I think the big one was our stunt, probably in terms of a sort of, oh my God, can we get this? Because we only had, I mean, that was really something, we had the budget to do that once. And we had 8 cameras. It was amazing. But also the light had to be particularly right. And of course, it's incredibly dangerous. So we had an amazing stunt driver called George. But that was something that I think everyone was really excited about. But we thought, we got one go at this. And hopefully we get it right. And I remember the feeling when that happened. Everyone was like, oh my God. So it was, and that was also our last shoot day. So it was scary and exciting and thrilling.
Sometimes after you premiere a movie at a film festival, it can change a little bit. Did you guys change anything after it premiered at South by?
Nope.
Nice. But you know what I mean? Yeah. Like I just spoke to someone, and I'm not going to name it, but they made some changes after, Canton. Actually, fuck it, I'll say it. It was The Apprentice.
No way.
Yeah, like I spoke to Ollie, and I'll be very brief, but like he removed some stuff and added some stuff, because when I watched it for the second time, I'm like, I don't remember that scene. I don't remember that scene, and I do remember a scene that's not here. What happened? And he did change it. He made, not because of any legal reasons, just.
But from feedback?
I don't. I think they had filmed it in he had been only able to edit for like 2-3 months before Cannes. Right. So it was very much like no one had seen it. Right. And I think after he showed it, he realized, we can make this better. Right. Not to, anyway, it's a separate movie, obviously. What do you think would actually surprise people to learn about being a producer? When being a producer and starring in something of the idea that you came up with. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. It's tough. I mean, over the years, one grows a thick skin. Well, one tries to grow a thick skin because people tell you how they feel. But it's weird when the business and the creativity meet, because in a lot of ways, I had an amazing time doing it, but I'm like, oh yeah, I could take a second before I do that again, because it's so revealing, I suppose. And there are things that I wouldn't know about selling it, or, films that I'm not this involved in. And suddenly, and you think, oh my God. And it's almost too much to know. And it was funny because actually when we premiered at South by, we were all flying high. It was amazing. The reaction was amazing. We had this wonderful party afterwards. It was amazing. And we got in the cab and I was like, I feel so sad. And because I had flown in from Australia, I was mid-shoot, so I was very tired. But it was a strange thing of, it doesn't stop. We all had a great time, but then we had to sell the film. And then it's the weeks of waiting. Did you sell the film? And did you make people's money back? So it's strange. And in a lot of ways, because we were able to do what we wanted to do, couldn't be happier, wouldn't change the film. But it is, it's a lot.
Well, I think a lot of people don't realize how many films right now are premiering at festivals with stars and are missing an action. Like they premiered and then they're gone. Like no one picked it up. And it's just a very strange time. So congrats on, it tells you also something about the quality of the movie that it's coming out. It's a very bad time in the industry. What do you, for the two of you, because again, you weren't there. What do you have any favorite memories from set? Like, is there a day or a scene or a moment that when you think back on the shoot, like that's the first thing that comes to your mind?
I mean, it was nice because we got to we spent 2 weeks in a house together. We filmed a lot of that house stuff. We did that, and then we did was it in that order? We did the house, and then just spending time as a family and making pancakes and doing all these, and then getting really horrible. I mean, it was just the whole thing was we were just there, and it was and also my brother lived around the corner, so I didn't have to drive back to London area, so that was quite nice. But
so you cheated?
I cheated, yeah. But yeah, it was just nice being in that zone for 2 weeks and just the whole thing, just not knowing what you're going to do that day and just doing loads. And then because it was 4 weeks, we just did everything back, and you just go, and it was a nice way of filming. I like that kind of just doing everything, and going nuts, yeah.
And I'm someone that likes to really, I think Grant's here somewhere. Yeah, Grant? Oh, is he not? Oh, Grant was supposed to be here. I like to be on sets anyway. So I always tend to be on set. I don't tend to go back to my trailer. But being on set in this way was really amazing. Because it's to be able to be there, do a scene, and then they're doing something else. I sort of felt a bit left out and a bit like, what's going on? Why aren't I in the scene? But to really be part of it in that way was the whole thing. It was pretty remarkable.
I'm avoiding spoilers, by the way, so people, I'm going to ask some different questions now, if you don't mind. When am I seeing Nautilus? Is it?
I think it's next Friday on Amazon, yeah.
Oh my God.
Next Friday, yeah.
Because when we last spoke, it was going to be AMC.
So that's mid next year, I think, AMC. I don't know how it's
Oh, got it.
Yeah. But next Friday, Amazon UK, yeah. AMC,
but that means
AMC next year for US.
Oh, so you need to be in the UK to watch it next Friday.
Yeah.
So I can't watch it until next year.
If you fly over next Friday, yeah.
What if I use a VPN?
Yeah. VPN, you're fine. Yeah.
Just throwing that out there. No, I'm really looking forward to seeing it. And for people that don't realize, it's like a big, big show. What do you want to tell people about it who don't know?
It's me, revenge story, Indian prince, Captain Nemo fighting the East India Company, swashbuckling adventure, brown guys on a ship. That's why I keep going to. That's my, yeah. It's all of that. It's like his wife and child have been murdered, and he's trying to get back at the East India Company. But origin story of Captain Nemo, Jules Verne, yeah.
8 episodes or 10?
10, I think. Yeah, 10.
Yeah, I honestly am so excited to see it. Let's go. I'm going to move down the line. Let's talk a little bit. What is this Kenneth Branagh movie about? Are you allowed to say?
I'm not allowed to say, but also even if I was allowed to say, like, we made a joke. I think I read the script 10 times before I understood 10% of it. Like, it's a real. I kept saying to him, how did you come up with this movie? It's such a. Come watch it. It'll be out next year. It's a real web. Nothing is as it seemed. It's a real, Jodie's character at the center of it. She's going through this thing that makes her own perspective unreliable anyway. So for that to be your protagonist, and then it's just a mess. So terrible answer. I don't know.
I don't want to get you in trouble. I have another follow-up, but I just want to let people know, and I can't say what it is, but you booked something pretty cool, which you can't talk about.
Can't talk about it yet, but very soon. But it's a good one. I think
it is a fucking good one. So
it's exciting.
You know what I mean? I don't know when it's going to get announced, but I'm just going to say that it's a good one. That's what I got. Okay, so I'm also, Tom, I want to ask you about, is it Hedda?
Yeah.
So for people that don't realize, talk about who's directing this and what can you tease?
The amazing Nia DaCosta. She has written an adaptation of the Ibsen play Hedda Garbler. And Tessa Thompson is playing Hedda Garbler. They actually put this thing together. It's Tessa's production company. It's a passion project that they've both wanted to do since they worked together in that movie Beyond the Woods. It changed names like 3 or 4 times. Great movie they did together at Sundance, which is where they first met. And Nia said, this is my favorite play. I've always wanted to do it, and said to Tessa, let's do it. And as Daisy said earlier on, like, you can have an idea for a movie. It can be like 5, 6, 7 years before it actually happens. And that's what happened here. It's an amazing film. The cast is incredible. Nina Hoss is in it. Me, Tessa, Imogen Poots, Nicholas Pinnock. It's really, really cool as a movie. We shot it again, all night shoots. The action takes place pretty much over the course of one night. I play Tessa's husband, Hedda's husband, and it's kind of our coming home wedding party where just everything goes horribly wrong. And it's brilliant. Yeah, we shot it all in England earlier this year in the freezing cold night shoots. We were zombies by the end of it, but we're really proud of it.
I don't think people realize what shooting nights for an extended period of time does to your brain.
Yeah. And actually, that's a better answer than what's surprising. What's a surprising thing about being an actor? That's tough. Like it's waking up every day at 4 p.m. or getting into work at 4 p.m., getting ready, and then cameras are turning over when the sun goes down at 7 p.m. Like it gets to 3, 4 in the morning and you're going, who am I? And you have to do this intense dialogue scene with Nina Hoss, who is one of my heroes. And you're going, I don't even know who I am anymore. What is this? And the birds singing terrifies you. You hear birds singing, that's almost a rap. And you go, I have to go to bed now and do it again tomorrow. So that, you become a walking zombie.
I think I wrote down one more, which is Madeline Hine.
Oh, that's the Kenneth Branagh.
Oh, that's the title
one. So we did that.
Wait. Oh, it's the last disturbance of. Oh,
it is,
that's
yeah.
why. That's why I got confused. Okay, that's awesome. No, I'm being not bullshitting. Like it's awesome that you are doing. Well, you just worked with him recently, Kenneth.
I actually haven't worked with him for a second. The last film I did with him was the follow-up to the movie Daisy and I did with him, The Death on the Nile, which was...
That's what I mean.
It was like 4 years ago?
Yeah, but it feels like it was recently.
3 years. Yeah, I guess it was. Yeah, I guess it was.
Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Let's just move on.
I love him and I love working with him.
Daisy,
Yes.
I have to ask you probably the most important question of the night, and it's not going to be what you're thinking. It's going to be, what the hell was it like for you riding on Rise of the Resistance for the first time and going to Disneyland and being in that ride?
It was kooky. It was also really funny because I was there with Brian Burke, who was... JJ and Brian worked together for a long time, and Brian was very involved in Force Awakens. I'm still really good friends with him, and he loves Disneyland. So we were there. So that was very surreal anyway, because I met him when I was 20. And I had seen lots of images of it and videos of it, but I hadn't seen it. And then I was on the ride and it was so surreal. And then the rest of that ride is unbelievable.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't stop. It's the most amazing thing. And then meeting someone that's playing me, and they had studied me. So she was doing stuff and I was thinking, is that what I do? Oh my God. And then I'm like, wait, is that what? But she was amazing. But that was very trippy. Someone that studied you playing you.
I want to do a follow-up on this because I saw a photo or a video or something of you with the person playing you. And so did the person in the park know you were there? What was their reaction when you're walking up? Like I can't imagine.
I think she had been told, and honestly, she didn't drop character. She was amazing. And she's American, doing an English accent. It was one of those things that at the time I was like, yeah, how you doing? And then we walked away and I thought, what is going on? And then we went on Tower of Terror. What is it now? Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So then, when you're like, whoa, what's happening? But it took a little while to take in what I had seen.
Yeah, the thing about, I don't know, has anyone done Rise of the Resistance?
Woo!
Oh, there, yeah. So if you've never been to Disneyland, it's totally worth going just for that ride. The ride is spectacular, Yeah. No, but I can't imagine. Had you seen a video of the actual ride before getting on it, or were you just being able to enjoy the spectacle? And when you get off the shuttle and then you're in it's crazy.
I had seen a video of my hologram, but I hadn't seen a video of the ride. So even when you go up in the lift, it's unbelievable. Yeah. So it was all new. It was amazing.
And as long as you're here and we're talking about Star Wars, can you, just throwing out there, do you want to give anyone an update? How are things going? Is there any news? Anything?
Things are evolving. I continue to be very excited. And there will be an update soon.
Do you... I'm not going to pressure you. Thank you for answering my, query. I just have to ask though, are you watching Andor? Have you guys watched Andor? If not, for the love of God, you need to watch Andor.
I have been told to watch it. I have to say, it is one of those things that I haven't. It does feel very close, strangely, to watch it. So I do feel it's sort of odd. It's like family sort of thing. But everyone tells me how amazing it is.
And I mean this for everyone. Raise your hand if you've seen Andor. Yeah, do you agree with me? Yes. Yeah, Andor's it's just incredible. It's Tony Gilroy, and it's just incredible. And I'm just blown away. If you took the Star Wars out of it, it would be an incredible television show. And it just so happens to take place with Star Wars. I'm just throwing that out there in case you ever have some time. Again, we're just about done, I promise. But we're in New York City right now, and I'm just curious. What the hell do you enjoy doing in New York City when you're here? Is there a restaurant or a type of food that you guys are like, we're getting this while we're here?
I just visited my friend Anthony. I've been with him all day. We just tried a Terra Negroni at Bar Piccolino. It's just in Greenwich, and it's this little Chinar artichoke thing. It's one of the best drinks I've ever had in my life. But just, I like to eat a lot, so I'm excited to eat here.
We got in from the airport, and I had already Uber-eated Le Botaniste, this unbelievable vegan restaurant. Oh my God. They do a quinoa pasta bolognese thing and some cookies. Shout out Le Botaniste. So good.
For people that have not been to London and the UK, is there a certain place that you really recommend? Say, hypothetically, someone sitting next to you was going to London tomorrow for a junket. Hypothetically. Is there a place that you recommend in the city? This goes, I guess, for all of you.
Food.
Depends what you're doing, yeah.
Yeah, food.
Trishna. Amazing Indian restaurant on Marylebone High Street. Yeah, that's the one that's coming to mind right now.
Duck
So
and
good.
rice on Poland Street in Soho is so their venison puffs are insane. They're so good.
Everyone in this audience is like, you're talking about food.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, I might want to get some.
I really like this restaurant called Trullo, but it's in Highbury, isn't it? It's not really in the city, but it's a really great, good pasta, very good pasta.
Okay, I think this will be my last question for you guys. New York Comic Con just took place here. Who went to New York Comic Con? Oh, a good amount of people. So I was going to make. Is there anything that you guys collect? If you walk around Comic Con, what would you be looking for?
I'm big. I like movie clothes merchandise. So I've got my favorite thing I have is a Big Trouble in Little China jacket, and it's Wang wears it in the film. And it's so if there's a piece of clothing from the movie that I can try and get, that's my thing.
Like real clothing or like?
No, it's not the one from the movie, but it's the same jacket. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't collect anything. I kind of want to. I want to be a person who collects stuff, but I don't collect anything.
It's actually much healthier if you don't.
I bet.
It really, really is.
But did you choose? Like, did you choose? I'm going to be a guy who collects jackets.
No, I don't collect. I mean, that's
Just
my
happened
main
to you.
one. I would just I might get something from Demolition Man that or there's certain movies that I'm like I want because the jacket's great.
So is the jacket.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I'm the same as Tom. Yeah, I
Our
want
house
to be
is
someone.
empty.
Yeah, we own nothing. I want to be someone that collects. Like, I want to be someone that has an acting process. I really do, but I don't. There are just things that I want to do, and I'm not there yet. But I will get there.
Wait, did you say you don't have a process?
No, you know how some people have an incredibly specific thing, and they have a smell, and they have a song that they listen to. I want to do that, and I've tried. And also, I want to be. I sort of want on the last job I did, which is called We Bury the Dead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I wanted to bring that up.
Oh,
Yeah, like
here I am.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like there's still a moment to talk about it. We bury the dead. What?
I wanted. It's a really. I named my character Sad Ava because she's having a tough time, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to go into this, and maybe I'm going to sort of maintain something. I don't know. Not that I wanted to be grumpy, but I was like, maybe I'll sort of be one of those people that likes to stay a bit in the headspace of it. And then I don't do that either. Got into the chair, I was like, do. Yeah, so don't collect anything. Don't have a process.
For people that don't know, what's that film about?
So We Buried the Dead is, I play a woman called Ava, who we learn has traveled to Tasmania because there has been a catastrophic incident that has killed a lot of people on the island, but not quite killed a lot of people on the island. So she has gone to try and find her husband because she doesn't know if he is fully gone or not quite gone. And over the course of the time when she's trying to find him, she finds out she can't go to where he is. So it becomes a bit of a road movie because she escapes with the help of a wonderful man by the name. He's played by a guy called Brenton Thwaite. Such a great guy.
He's okay as an actor.
He's so sweet. But the sort of zombies they start quite docile And then as time goes on, it gets a little scarier. So it's an amazing genre zombie movie, but also it's a meditation on grief and searching for something and searching for an answer. And if the answer is difficult, what do you do with the answer?
You've been bouncing from, you've done some really cool projects the last 2 years. What are you thinking about? Do you have something you're getting ready to film later this year or next year? Like, what are you looking at in terms of what you want to do?
There were a few things that I was really hoping I'd be doing now, but as you said, it's a really, really strange time.
Yes.
Really strange time. But my friend Martin Campbell, who I did this action film cleaner with, he sent me a script a little while ago, and he is amazing. He took me to dinner, and I was already like, oh, that's so cool, it's Martin Campbell. Even though I made a film with him, I was like, oh my God, it's Martin Campbell. And he gave me a script, and I read it, and I had some thoughts, and the writer made some pretty significant changes. So from the Friday that he gave me the script to the next Friday, the script had been retooled with my notes, and we are gathering financing now.
I really hope you're able to get financing. I swear this will be my last thing, because I know the people in the back of the theater are like, stop. Because we've gone way over on time, but thank you for indulging me. So you said you don't have a process. So for all three of you, what is it like when you are filming something, like, you know, you're filming something in, let's hypothetically say, 2 months? What exactly are the three of you doing? And for people that don't realize, sometimes you get cast and you're filming in a week, or you're filming in 2 weeks and there's not that time. But then there are projects where you have more time. So for all three of you, if you actually have 2-3 months before you're going to film and you got cast, what are you actually doing in that time so you're getting ready before you step on set that first day?
I suppose it varies. I mean, if you're working from a novel or something, which, say, Nautilus, or the project that I'm working on at the moment, which I can't talk about, you might want to read that first.
Right,
then,
which is a really good one. Go on.
And then I like to take, and then once you do it, you put it down, then go in the woods and just go for a long walk and just think about stuff for a while. Let the inspiration come, and just try, if you've got that spare time, to just sort of imagine stuff and let your brain go crazy for a bit. And then you get down to all the, you know, working on your voice and doing all the stuff and doing all the things and script work. But yeah, first of all, you take in what you can from the first read and try and just let that take you somewhere. Can
I, I'm just curious. So say you hypothetically had like 3 months. Do you find like that like 3 months out, you're sort of thinking about it, but you're letting it like simmer? Yeah. And then as you get closer, you're starting to get way more in your head? Yeah. You let it seep in, and then you go crazy. When do you turn it on where you're like going, oh, we're full force right now?
2 months before. Okay. I think it depends how long you got. Yeah.
No, totally. Tom?
I mean, I'm quite astute. I use a lot of techniques from drama school initially. So like the first couple times I read it, I will go through and, you know, what do other characters say about me? What do I say about myself, to try and sort of flesh out who this guy is, not just my initial reaction, just sort of from different angles. And then let it sort of simmer. I like to watch a lot of things. If the director will often say, oh, I'm thinking like this, like Ken gave me a whole list of movies before we started shooting that he was thinking of the genre, and you kind of know where he's wanting performances to be placed. Are they big, small, realistic, understated? Where was he thinking? But one of my favorite things, which I think is probably linked to my writing, is I like to write a character diary throughout the whole movie, so that effectively I make myself the lead character. So that it's like this whole diary of like, I did this, which will be a scene in the movie, then we maybe don't see him for a day or two, and I just write what he did in those 2 days, and I kind of keep that with me, and I like to read that back before I'm doing a scene. It helps me not get lost, and to sort of try and keep a through line there.
And the one who really prepares.
My preparation really is just a lot of thought. And I suppose by not having a process, I mean something external. I read a lot and I think a lot. And then I think probably the best thing for me is when you actually get with the other actors and get with the director. Because also, and We Bury the Dead's a good example, when I read the script, that actually came together very quickly. But from the time I read it to the time I was on set, things had changed and different thoughts had come up as I'm reading it. And I'm wondering about, does this mean this and does this mean this? But also I'm someone that loves to talk as we go too. and I'm very open to sort of trying things out and seeing where things go, because also you're only as, the scene only is what it is because of the other person that you're with. So I try to be as prepared as possible, but then when I get to set, be very open and ready for my scene partner to, because sometimes things go way off, like way where you didn't think it was going to go. But having a lot of faith in a director and the people that you're working with to let yourself be taken there.
Thank you for the answers. I will say something I just realized is if you guys see Magpie again, the second time is a completely different viewing. I rewatched it for this and I was like, oh yes, like there's a lot. Anyway, so a few quick things. Number one, if you enjoyed the movie, please go on social media and spread the word because movies like this could use a little extra support. Number two, I really want to thank the three of you for doing this Q&A, and I really want to thank all of you guys
Thank you all so much.
for coming out. And as a favor, it would be awesome if everyone could just stay seated so you guys could exit stage left up there away from people out there. Because hypothetically, if there was anyone there, it would be better to go that way.
Honestly, thank you all so much for being here. It really means so much to us.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, Steve.
Thank you.